Hi, this is Natarajan. I try to call Australian real estate as free market, but I can't justify it. There are big problems in it. First thing is uh, housing as it is for people living. It's essentially a shelter, and people had the dream of owning a home. Now in the last uh, decade, maybe from since early 1980s, regulations set a limit on how much and to whom banks could lend to have been won back. Before that, people saved some money, and banks would also lend to make it possible for people to own their homes. The own their homes and live there. So uh, now, real estate, if we think it's a market that started from 1980s, um, so now the December 2019 banking watchdog APRA entered into the fray and removed certain things, certain limits on lending, and reintroduced some limits in October 2021 after house prices have shot up again. So, what is really a free market is I doubt it's applicable to real estate. Government gives subsidies. It is not giving any subsidies to any other uh, sector, only real estate. But that too for different reasons. Why would any capital gains tax should be exempted from housing? That makes it a unique sector where the successive governments want the price to always be up and up and up, so it should not come down. So when the the possibility of capital appreciation only makes investors to go for that, and because any industry, anything, any business we start, we want cash flow, but negative cash flow, negative gearing also is allowed in real estate. So this is quite different. This is, I won't even say this is real estate is a market. It is a uh, tweaked, industry, and in every industry there is a buyer and a seller. So the buyer interest is protected. The seller interest is also protected. Seller has to certify this before supplying anything, a product or service. The seller is responsible for many things. Forget about in real estate. Any seller just washes his hand after the buyer signs an agreement, whether it's a old home or new home, age home, whether the home is weatherproof and cold weather, or people won't suffer because of that, whether the bathroom is leaking or not, nobody cares. Sale is sale. Where is the country? The government should have come for that. It should have said, a house, if at all you have to sell, this should fulfill all these conditions. In that case, the investors would be knowing these are the things they have to keep it updated. What? Weatherproofing. The most of Australian homes, if you go in winter, whatever you do, it will be cold. Why? So the design portion of Australian housing didn't undergo any change for decades, because they are interested in only capital gain, immediate gain, buy, sell. Another one, they build, the builder. The builder takes a short-term loan, and he wants big money. He wanted, but it's not coming. That's different story now. So successive governments introduced piecemeal legislation, plugging this when weathering the wood is not properly weathered and processed, they introduce that. Each apartment had a problem, they introduce a bill only to address that, not anything. First of all, if it is a product, this product is for meant for, I mean, I am talking about residential. This even it applies to the uh, business real estate or industrial real estate also. Any landlord, if it is a product, any landlord has to give with fully serviced condition any house. Is there any rule in, I don't know, any rule? It has to be weatherproof, no leaks should be there, and it has to be measured in terms of the whether the electricity consumption is more or not, whether all the gaps in the house are plugged or not, whether toilet, this thing, that thing working. So many things are needed for a house. So still I'm saying tin houses on top. You know, whatever weathering they do, it is very cold inside or very hot inside in summer days. Most of the houses built before and even now, the temperature inside is very cold or very hot. You have to use all the time air conditioning. So this industry is white elephant. It doesn't care. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to give anything. And another thing, I already talked about the buyer and the seller. Where is the buyer protection in? It's absolutely wrong for sale or rental also. The rental, any time, the for 3 weeks, 4 weeks duration, anybody can 6 weeks. I mean, sometime people can be sent out of home. And I'm talking about the selling and buying process. If buyer, it works on an agreement. What is that agreement? Stupid. That also the real estate institute stipulates an agreement. What the hell is that? Why can't a buyer write an agreement and others approve it? So in New Zealand, you can just go and write an agreement. Buyer want to buy a house. He writes, this is what I want to buy, and he sends it to the seller. And if he approves or if he wants to make a change, he can do it. Why? Just because the government in Australia, the state government's stamp duty, they want to collect the stamp duty. They stipulated it, before selling anything, you have to put your agreement. Just because they can monitor it for their state revenue. I mean, I don't see any other reason valid. Maybe hundreds of reasons may be there. So rest of the world is doing it differently. I'm just trying to bring those information here. So if okay, now also you can, a real estate agent has a contract that's written by the seller, and he puts it, and the buyer can also make some changes, but it doesn't go directly to the seller. He can't do anything. It has to be modified by the lawyer. Why? Why lawyer comes into this? You can write any contract. After that, he can consult it. He can consult about it. In real estate, swiftness, fast. So what happens is this market is skewed towards seller. They put all the condition. They make buyers compete for the product just because the rules and regulations in Australia, especially New South Wales, is so much conditioned towards helping the seller, not the buyer. So whatever the real estate agent says, he won't, I mean, anything that is a difficult proposition, he won't write it. So this this is not going by writing whatever you think. So it is dotted line, you have to sign. So this is not a free market actually for real estate if you compare to other countries. The third, many other problems I see here. What about the banks are not at all worried about the price. They they think when the price of a real estate is going up, they get more interest. That's a very wrong, way of thinking. How can so they could control the prices. I mean, the banks could make the builder or the seller to justify their price rather than just they can write whatever they want. So just the competition like a lotto, they can increase it whatever they want. If okay, banks represent both the sellers as well as buyers. So if they just want the seller to sell whatever and buyer to buy whatever they want, they work on the income of the buyer. They don't give more credence to the value of the property, the serviceability of the buyer from other income they calculate. That is a major problem. Why? The lending should be more concerned about the property and the increase. Will it sustain? All those things are given. So APRA came and they changed some rules and they reverted. Still, this is not settled. So if the interest rate hike now, it happens too fast, and I will see. I mean, I'll think. I don't want that, but a lot of stresses will be there in the market, and the APRA was trying to insulate the banks, not the house owners. That's a very wrong way of thinking. So the APRA and the bank should be thinking about the owners of the property, sellers of the property, buyers of the property. They should work with all sectors, all stakeholders concerned, so that they can even have. What if they say for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom in this area, 500 is the nominal value. If something comes up, 700,000, 800,000, the seller and buyer has to justify. I mean, if it is a new property coming up, they have to make their own calculation. This is what I can give. So, what about inefficient builders? They put all the cost into it. It's not what you spend on it. It's what efficiently you did it. If you are doing it for your own self, how will you build it? If you are the fifth or sixth way I'm thinking is more and more. If people come forward to build their own homes, the bank should be lending them in installments, and that would make it cheaper. I mean, because it's their own house, they have to do it properly. Thank you.